Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Canal de International. I'm called Maureen. We'll begin with our top stories. Suspects behind the kidnapping of Dr. Olivia Disongo on April 6, 2022 have been apprehended. The Big Five were arrested by security officials at their hiding place at Kamiabasi last week with the collaboration of the judicial police and the victims' family and members. And the National Union of Teachers of Higher Education Seniors has announced another strike action this day, April 18, following numerous unfulfilled promises by the government. And Yaoundé inhabitants, just like many other Cameroonians, say these monuments, the monuments of some Cameroonians, key historic figures should be erected in the nation's political capital to honor the fallen heroes. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. The National Union of Teachers of Higher Education Seniors has announced another strike action to begin this day, April 18, following numerous unfulfilled promises by a government on the research allowances. More in the following story.
It is a busy campus this Monday, April 18, at the University of Douala. Students are present in amphitheaters, but without their lecturers who are on break imposed by the Easter celebration as per this communique signed by the rector. But again, the lecturers in another communique announced a strike action that begins this April 18. They are demanding for the full payment of research modernization allowances for the first quarter of 2022. The due date had long elapsed and the lecturers are disgruntled.
Lecturers of university are still waiting for the payment of the first quarterly payment of their allowance. And according to the press release of the Minister of State, on the 28th of March 2020, we were supposed to be paid on the 1st of April. And since the 15th of April, the staff of our coordination hold a meeting where we discover that less than 41% of lecturers have been paid.
According to seniors coordinator, the inactivity demonstrated by governments is a clear signal of the level of maltreatment or ill treatment meted on lecturers.
If we are paying just after 24 hours or 48 hours, it is clear that next day we will be in our different classroom and amphitheater. So, have you just said students are not around because they really trust on us? It's not the first time that University of Douala or at the national level, University of Douala take part to the strike.
The university lecturer strike comes amid an already tense crisis in the education sector following a more than 3 weeks running strike action by primary and secondary school teachers across the country.
After 3 days of break to celebrate Easter, students sitting in for end-of-year examination are back in their classrooms for the refresher session. Classes not only to catch up with the missed periods of lessons for the government, secondary and high school students, and above all to the revision and corrections as the group discussion programs also expands. More in the following story with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamu.
Students in examination classes, like their teachers, very conscious the exams are near and time is not on their side. With barely over 1 month to go, the place for refresher courses. And after 3 off days of Good Friday, Holy Saturday and Easter Sunday, the students are back in their classrooms
revision, certain aspects that we could not have at the beginning of the year, and then catch up with it, which will permit us to have a higher, better grade. These classes that you are seeing, it is very intensive.
The courses goes with psychological preparation also, especially for those sitting such public exams for the first time.
We are being given words of encouragement from our teachers, encouraging us not to be afraid, because this is like our first step into our future lives. The catch-up classes are often more interactive, with minute and small details being dispatched here and there. Group work commonplace.
Now we can also connect,
making sure no stone is left unturned.
We solve past questions with them. We give them exercises to carry out on their own. And then we also advise them. We help them to be able to bring out a final reading timetable, which is different from the one they have been using since September. We come here every day. We work as you see in the lab. We even revise those practicals that we have done before, so that they should have a memory of it.
Most run from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. and put to hold with break time. Though these courses have become a tradition during the second term holiday for examination classes, it is a kind of remedial this year after the teachers' strike, especially for government secondary schools, added to the health situation.
Suspects behind the kidnapping of Dr. Olivia Disongo on April 6, 2022 have been apprehended. The Big Five were arrested by security officials at their hiding place at Kanyabasi last week with the collaboration of the judicial police and family members. More in the following story with our reporter, Stephanie Chin.
These are the victims behind the kidnapping of Dr. Olivia Disongo on April 6, 2022. The suspects are presently under police custody. The gang of 5 men between the ages of 22 and 37 were nabbed by security operatives at their hideout at Kanyabasi last week after the release of the victim.
Il faut mettre dans le numéro de ceux qui vont pouvoir donner cet argent et il est sorti pour partir chercher le bic et la feuille pour que j'écrive.
According to the commissioner of the judicial police, the alleged kidnappers were arrested thanks to the collaboration of the victim's family and the judicial police.
Having been seized by his family, we began a search that led us to the cities of Kribi, Dizangue, and Edea, because the kidnappers having wanted to blow the tracks in these cities. To this end, we have benefited from the collaboration of the police units of these different cities, as well as the Directorate of the Judicial Police. With the collaboration of the family of Dr. Disongo, the police methods used allowed us to find the victim and arrest all those involved in this abduction.
Following the kidnap of Dr. Disongo, the judicial police advises the population to be cautious by concealing personal information.
To be very alert with the person with whom you are communicating. Mostly when you don't know a person physically, you don't have to communicate with her and show them and give them some personal information about you.
As the suspects await trial, security officials have reiterated the need for the population to collaborate with the forces of law and order to stamp out criminality in the region.
Common regulations for the management of waste oil from river units and post platforms in the Congo, Obangi, Sanga Basin is currently under validation in Cameroon's economic city Douala. Gladys Ambodiban completes that story.
In a bid to regain her position as the third producer of cattle in Cameroon, the Northwest region is drumming up strategies to that effect. A meeting bringing together mayors has taken place in Bamenda recently with the call for all 34 councils to honor their financial engagements with the Northwest Livestock Development Fund, the most outstanding being the 20% quota of the cattle tax, commonly known as Njangali tax, to see the know.
Before the crisis, some council areas were not ready to chip in that minimum, that small share of the Jangali tax that is very necessary for the realization of activities of the Northwest Livestock Development Fund. And from our evaluation, for the time 2004 to 2017, we only received 21.1%.
As Vice President of the fund, the governor says measures will soon be put in place for the taxes to be collected alongside other dues owed the state, as the current security seems to have worsened the situation.
To have with us the chairman of the Regional Executive Council, who is part of the strategy, the global strategy, the holistic strategy, conceived to ease the collections of the jungleitas, but not only the jungleitas.
Most municipal councils presently have a debt of over 40 million francs CFA of the cattle tax, which impedes the construction of feeding paddocks, the establishment of nurseries, and provision of vaccines, among other activities. Cattle were vaccinated last year in the northwest region of Cameroon.
That was rather a report on the non-payment of the Jangali tax in the northwest region of Cameroon. Yaoundé inhabitants, just like many other Cameroonians, see these monuments of some Cameroonians. Key historic figures should be erected in some parts of Cameroon. The reminder this day as the country joins the international community to commemorate World Monuments Day. More in the following story.
The Yaoundé capital city can boast of some symbolic monuments in honor of historical figures in Cameroon, as well as the standing history of the country. But how often do Cameroonians visit the monuments? Many pay less attention towards the historic attractions. I cannot lie, I don't visit monuments. The only monument I have visited is that of reunification, because I used to pass by when going to the university. So one day I just decided to visit and have an overview of it. This, the reunification monument, few meters away from the Ngwaikele military base, which clocks 50 this year, erected through the expertise of Gideon Pando and Anje Benvin, as a symbol of the reunification of the two Cameroonian states to form a unitary state in 1972. The site, a historic point for many Cameroonians and foreigners. Each day, other key statues in the city of Yaoundé include that of the renowned Ewondo chief, Charles Tangana, opposite the Ministry of Transport, the French military physician, Dr. Eugène Jamoud, who played a major role in the fight against sleeping sickness in Cameroon during the era. Here at the Basic Education Road Junction, John F. Kennedy here at the center town with the streets, baptized Avenue Kennedy, and many others. The monuments, inhabitants say, serve as history books and constant reminder of the life of the country through different periods. Through them, we can recall some important dates and the historic periods that Cameroon has gone through. However, many continue to clamor for the construction of the statues of key independent fighters like Robin Omnube, Roland Felix Moumé, John Go Foncha, among others, here in the political capital, not only in their native localities.
And the Bamenda Archdiocese has been raising funds for the construction of a 6-story building to upgrade the St. Blaise Catholic Hospital in Bamenda, one of the outstanding constructors during the recent 2020-2022 Chrism fundraising mass in the American base. Joseph Mumbang, who facilitated the shipping of the 40-feet container of medical equipment. More original Leketandak.
This is a St. Blaise Hospital of the Bamenda Archdiocese in the Roman Catholic Church. For the past months, Christians have been gathering even the widow's mite to upgrade the health structure.
So the Archdiocese is not paying any dime for this equipment, and all this is under the donation of Mr. Joseph Mubang. And for this, we are very, very grateful. I think that somebody does something which is good, let us acknowledge him. I want to really openly acknowledge Mr. Joseph Mubang for his efforts, for his goodwill, and for his benevolence.
The Crescent Mass for 2022 this April 12 has been dedicated to the collection of funds to construct a 6-floor story building. The health needs of the population have increased with the prolonged socio-political crisis. A group of American-based medical Christians has shipped in a 40-feet container of equipment through the influence of one of their members, Cameroonian-born Joseph Mubang, who schooled on this mission ground before leaving for the United States 45 years ago. Except
socio-political environment, I know most people suffer from what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. When I came here and I looked at the environment, I thought I'm a son of soil. What have I done for my people? What have I done for my country? So I decided now to go back and put all this together.
The equipment that have come, we have almost half of what we need to set up the diagnostic laboratory. And one of the things that we've been lacking in the region has been a good diagnostic laboratory. And we already have equipment that can already be able to equip half the laboratory.
Through some government officials, the 40-feet container easily sailed through the Douala seaport.
Le gouvernement a accordé son soutien et pour lequel il a facilité la mise à sa disposition des équipements collectés aux États-Unis par les médecins chrétiens.
Our region can work with all people of goodwill. The medical missionaries, retired doctors in the US who gather this equipment, our brothers who collect the equipment and ship it, our government that facilitates the transfer of equipment here without excise taxes.
Always supportive of church initiatives like their late father, the Mubang family has also pledged to carry 2 of the 6 floors, beginning with...
So the family talk say they want to take the first floor. Medical. Yes, now they have to take the second floor.
I will be with that family group and I'll add my own 10 million inside.
Engineers are confident of the tenacity of the jewel that will sprout from the ground.
The soil is very suitable, solid, and has some rocks even underneath.
It's to travel out of the region for certain medical attentions.
Thanks so much, Regina Leke-Tandak, and that brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. We'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.